Nothing better than some good old med-level PVMing content. I've made multiple accounts and I've had to go through the struggle of being a med-level account around 75s in attack strength and defense and wondering what I could possibly do for money because med-level and low-level Slayer just will not cut it. That's what I'm going to be going through in this video. Now, as far as the stats that I'll be requiring, I guess, for these bosses and assuming for these boss rates, it'll be 80s across the board in attack, strength, defense, range, and mage. The reason I say 80, obviously you can do some of these bosses at lower levels, and if you want to, feel free to try. However, those lower levels aren't necessarily the hardest to get up, and compared to how slow you'll be killing some of these bosses, in the end you'll realize that it's just worth it to get your combat up. A lot of people ask me early on what kind of bosses they can kill with 70s and 60s in stats, and while you can kill some, it's really not beneficial, and I'd highly recommend waiting and just training your account a little bit. As much as some people want to get into the PVMing scene, it really will hinder you if you just don't focus on your account and just try to kill low level bosses. So we'll start with what I think is the second easiest boss, and that is Giant Mole. If you don't know how to kill Giant Mole or you've never done it before, you can find it in the Falador Park, so make your way on over here. The stats required is just base 70s. Honestly, you don't need 80, it will help, but not required. You need the base 70s for Darox, and as far as the gear setup goes, I just run Darox and my best melee boosting armor along with that. Another added requirement that isn't necessarily required, but I'd highly recommend it, is the Falador Hard Diary. This allows you to locate the mole at all times, and on top of that you get noted drops, so it makes mole just insanely easy. The inventory setup is just some potions. I use super combats, and then stamina for running to the mole when it digs. On top of that, prayer potions to pray melee, a locator orb to bring down my HP, a Falador shield to locate the mole, a spade to get down there, and we will as well need a light source. So if no one's in your world, feel free to go down. Run to the south, and if you have the locator from the Falador Hard 3, you'll have a little arrow on your minimap as to where the mole is. So from there, just get your HP down to 1 if you're using Darox. T-bow is better here, but considering this is a med-level guide, I'm going to assume probably not a whole lot of you have T-bows. And then super combat, and you should just be able to tear through mole. Now you can bring some spec weapons if you want to. Dragon Warhammer maybe to lower defense, but I'd say more DPS weapons would be useful. Every time you hit the mole, it'll have a 1 in 4 chance of digging, and upon doing so, you'll have to run and find it. And it's as simple as that. I've personally done a lot of mole in Hunt of the Pet, but as far as the kills per hour, I can get close to 50. Some lower levels with 70 to 80 in melee stats can get around 35, which isn't that bad either. Especially when you consider that every kill you're getting pretty much this guaranteed loot. It averages out to be 12.5k on average, along with added drops, bringing it up to closer to 17k. And so at a med level, mole can net you about 500 to 600k per hour. And along with that, it's a nice little hunt for a pet, so not bad at all. Now we'll be moving on to what I think is the most accessible boss of the bunch, and that is KBD. If you've never been to King Black Dragon, you can find it in level 40 Wilderness, quite a ways north, all the way up here in this little lava maze area. There are 2 teleport ways to get here, the Burning Amulet and the Gorok Teleport. This one you can have a tab for, so if you have Desert Treasure completed, feel free to use that. I personally use this one, however, Burning Amulet, anyone can use, so I'll use it in this video. The gear setup is, for the most part, if you're a noob, I mean, really, I recommend range up until you get to about 85 in melee stats. Then I think melee kind of overtakes it, and you should use a Zamorak and Hasta. For the lower levels though, this is a really good range boss to be able to do, and honestly I find it pretty enjoyable. So for the gear setup, we have a full D'hide set. This is probably the most accessible I think to most people. God D'hide's where you can get it, but make sure not to risk too much because you will be going through the Wildy. I have a Necklace of Anguish, you can easily replace that with the Glory. Rune Crossbow you can upgrade to a Dragon Hunter, and along with that the Diamond Bolts E. You can bring an Archer's Ring as well if you wish. The inventory is pretty basic, just an extended anti-fire, a ranging potion, and an antidote to save you from poison. 3 super restores, the rest pineapple pizzas, a teleport out, and a teleport there. Pretty simple. As far as getting there with the Burning Amulet, just teleport to the lava maze, tell them that you actually do want to go, and then from there it's just a nice little hike up here. This is a little bit more populated of a spot because a lot of people use Burning Ammies, so that's why I recommend just using the other teleport, but if you can't, that's fine either way. Going on down this ladder, you'll find yourself closing in on the KBD layer, and after you pull the lever, you will be inside. So, drink up on your potions, and get ready to slay this terrifying creature. You can't pray anything from it, don't bother praying mage, it won't do anything. If you're in melee distance, obviously then, pray melee. And other than that, just sit back and watch your character do work. Now you can bring Ruby Bolts E as well, but they do damage to you, and then you have to, I mean, it is somewhat helpful, but I really don't think it's worth the hassle. If you don't mind switching bolts mid-kill, that's perfectly fine. Use rubies until KBD is half health, then switch over. Personally, with a maxed out setup, nothing along these lines, but with Dragon Hunter crossbow, Slayer task, stuff like that, I can get 60 kills an hour. So for me, it is a very, very easy boss. For lower levels, you'll be getting dealt more damage, so you'll probably get closer to around 30 kills per hour. And at lower levels, getting 30 kills per hour, you should be able to make close to 500k an hour. Again, very comparable to Mole. It is another boss that's just good for low levels, trying to get a feel for what the PvM scene is like. Wouldn't recommend staying here too long unless you're going for something like the pet. Both the Vizzy and the D-Pick are pretty rare, so to come here and expect those as drops is very wishful thinking, and I wouldn't recommend it. Now moving on to some of the higher level ones, we will now go on to what is my favorite wildy bosses, Venomous and Callisto, both of them requiring much of the same setup and just entirely almost the same boss to kill. As far as level recommendation, I'd say 80 plus range. If you're going melee, 85 plus. Range honestly makes both these bosses very chill, however you can safe spot both of them. I'll be safe spotting them in this video so you can get a little once over of how to do it. I have guides on both of those safe spots as well if you want to check those out. But for the gear setup, basically we're going with a dumbed down version of what you brought to KBD. Basically anything you brought to KBD, but actually you're going to lose it in the wildy if you die. So be cognizant of that. Here we're actually going to bring ruby bolts because these monsters have very high defense, so they're hard to hit, and you'll need those random high hits if you can get them. Now for the inventory, much of the same this time, no extended anti-fire. Just bring range, a stamina, antidote, some prayer potions, diamond bolts, and food. A glory to teleport out, and a games necklace to teleport there. I'll be using a games necklace to teleport to Venomous because you teleport to the Corp Cave, you run a little northeast, and right over here is Venomous. If you're going to Callisto instead, you can either use the Corp Cave Tele, or you can use this Anacarl tablet and run from there. That makes it a little quicker, but up to you again. So running to Venomous is very simple. Just run out of the Corp Cave, go northeast to about level 30, and then continue to run to the east, and you should find yourself there. Just hop until you find a world to yourself. Don't bother crashing, people. Yeah, so once you find Venomous, go and throw on your magic prayer and run north to this little Tetris block. Go on the southern part of it. Once he starts to hit you, run to the west. I said I wasn't going to explain it. I won't explain it too much, but yeah, I mean, you can get the idea. Run it along this northern line until this line of rocks. Stand on this rock. Wait for an attack. Once you see an attack, click over here. Okay. Well, maybe. There we go. How about that? And he'll follow right on in. Go back to this rock, run south, and then he'll fall down again. Easy as that. Honestly, love doing the Venomous safe spot. Sometimes you'll have a little bit of problems, but I mean, once you get used to it, it's a breeze. So for me, I just stand right behind this web. You can stand anywhere over here. Just make sure not to go to the eastern side of him. Now, you will have clans that'll bounce on you, probably from over here for the most part, and sometimes running from the north. Just keep an eye on that and be ready to tele at any moment. But yeah, it's as simple as that. Now you just wait and go again. So in the description below, I'll also have a video where I compare Venomous and Callisto to one another because I literally love these bosses so much that apparently I've made a video on everything dealing with them. Moving on to Callisto, it is much of the same. Just attack him with your mage pray on and then run to the east. You'll just want to be able to go until you pass this little third tree over here in these line of 3. Run a couple blocks to the west of it and wait until you see a nice little yellow dot move in on your mini-map. Yeah, see, once it comes on in, just run south and you'll be looking to go behind this tree stump right here. Upon doing that, Callisto will run on to these corpses, and from there, it's as easy as can be. Just run back up here. He is safe spotted. He might hit you in this little corner right here, but that's fine. And then just go and attack him. Easy as that. Honestly, an easier setup than Venomous, but I just enjoy Venomous a bit more. The GP per hour for these two bosses are relatively comparable, so whichever one you find more enjoyable or whatever pet you want to go for as a side chance, feel free. With max setups, I'm able to get about 15 kills per hour for each of these bosses, netting me close to 1.3 mil. If you have a little bit less, if you're working with about 80 range, I'd say you could get about 7 to 8 kills per hour, ultimately making you between 550k and about 700k per hour. Next up, this is for the pet hunters out there. This is the easiest PVMing boss pet to get in game, and you can do it at a med level, and that is Chaos Ellie. If you don't know how to get to Chaos Ellie, it is out here in Rogue's Den, level 51 Wilderness. You can teleport here with this lever or with an Anacarl teleport. There's tons of ways to get here. Personally, I use the lever. As far as the gear setup, I'm rocking something along these lines. A BGS is my attack weapon. You can use a range setup too, with a blowpipe, whatever is best for you. Here I have a Torture and a Berserker Ring for the items I'll keep, and other than that, just some melee boosting gear along with Black D-Hide for PKers. The inventory is pretty simple, just your potions, your staminas, your prayer potions, and some summer pies. The summer pies are because whenever you eat a summer pie, the pie dish stays in your inventory, and Chaos Ellie can't take off your armor. One of the special attacks of it is the ability to take off armor, and that's pretty annoying if you don't have a full inventory. So upon walking over here, find a world to yourself, and there are two different ways to go about luring the Chaos Elemental. So Prey Mage, once the Chaos Ellie is here, you may have to kind of run it around some rocks every now and then. It does kind of become hard to lure sometimes, just because it is so big. Once it's out though, the first method of luring it is behind this tree over here. This will be the flinching method. The flinching method is a little bit harder, but it's definitely easier to catch the lure, so just do whatever luring method you find most enjoyable for yourself. Here, I pray piety, I pot up, and basically you want to attack and run back behind the tree. Every time the HP bar of the Chaos Elemental goes away, you can come out and re-attack it. That's why we're using a BGS, because the attack time really doesn't matter, so you just want to use the most powerful weapon you can. And as you can see, the Chaos Ellie will not attack me back if I wait for its HP bar to go away. As you can see, I didn't there for an example, and it teleported me away and hit me for 28 damage. So that's the potential of the Chaos Ellie. For this spot, I'd recommend bringing a range setup, and if you're going to melee it, I'd say bring a better weapon than a BGS for DPS, because over here you can constantly attack it without being hit, and it really doesn't matter all too much. So once you have the Chaos Ellie following you, just run it along this southern wall here, and you're going to want to run one step southwest of this little rock patch right here. Once you see the Chaos Ellie attack you, you're just going to want to bolt north as fast as you can. Here we can see it in our path, so I'm going to run north. Now it does have a teleportation effect sometimes, as we can see coming to us right now. What I do whenever I see that is I just spam click, and sometimes it doesn't go through. I don't know how it works. But yeah, just run north along these rocks, and once you see another Chaos Ellie attack, run 2 steps to the west. So there we go, one's in the air, going to the west, and the Chaos Ellie should be lured. Now at this point, this is why I recommend bringing range, because sometimes it can get out of this little step tile here. If it does go one more to the east, you can still attack it from here with range. However, you obviously can't melee. This is the border of which you cannot attack it inside. So if I'm right here, the Chaos Ellie will be very mad at me. If I'm right here, the Chaos Ellie will let me be. With this safe spot, I found that I can get personally 30 to 35 kills per hour, making this boss pet on average about a 9-hour boss pet. Obviously something I'd recommend, and if you guys want to try it out, feel free. And that is going to be it for me today, folks. I know mid-level bossing can be a little difficult, so hopefully this video helped you out. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like. If there's more you want to see from me, make sure to subscribe, and let me know in the comments what exactly you'd like to see. But ultimately, I hope you guys have a